In this tutorial, I'll introduce you to the statistical software package that we'll be using in this course. It's spelled JMP, but is actually pronounced JUMP. So when you click on the JUMP icon, it first brings up what we call the JUMP home screen. From here, if we want to enter data, we would go to File, New, Data Table. Then to begin entering our data, we would just double-click on the column header and give our variable a name. So here we're going to be making a bar graph of the sample data from the primary news source survey. So I'll call the variable of interest news source and hit OK. So I want to point out over here in the columns panel, you'll notice that there's a blue triangle next to the variable name. That means that JUMP thinks that this is a quantitative variable. But notice when I click in the cell and begin entering my data, so my first observation here was TV. Remember, this is qualitative data. So JUMP changes to these red bars when you enter characters instead of numbers to say that, okay, I recognize that this is a qualitative variable. And having the correct variable designation is going to be important for us because a lot of times in JUMP you'll go to the same menu, but you'll get different outputs depending upon whether or not the variable you give JUMP is qualitative or quantitative. And to change the variable designation, you can do one of two things. You can either click on the icon under the columns panel, and you see we could choose between ordinal or nominal. We know that this is a nominal variable, right? There's no natural ordering to the categories here. Or if it were numbers that I'd entered, I could choose continuous. And sometimes continuous is grayed out when it really shouldn't be, and to fix that you can double click on the column heading. And then here you see you can change the data type to be numeric or character. And then you can choose now continuous is what JUMP calls the quantitative variables. Okay, so we're happy with a character data type and a modeling type of nominal. And so then you can come back and continue entering your data. So we had our second observation was internet, and then TV again, and then other. You do want to be careful here because JUMP is case sensitive, meaning if I had entered a capital T lowercase v, it would think that that was a different category than the capital T capital V that I used. So it is important that you're consistent throughout entering your data. Okay, so to save us time, I've already entered all 32 observations and saved it to a data table. And so to open a saved data table, you just double click. And it brings up, here's my news source variable with all 32 observations typed in. And to make the bar graph, I'm going to go to Analyze, Distribution. And then I click on the variable name and select this variable as my Y columns variable. And here's what the default output screen looks like. So you'll notice by default, JUMP creates bar graphs with these horizontal bars, which is different from what we typically see, which is having vertical bars. So to fix that, you can click on this red triangle next to distributions and select stack. And then you can resize the graph by coming down here near the category names and looking for the double arrow. And then you can drag it out as big as you want. Make sure that your category names are no longer tilted. And another thing that JUMP does by default, which is weird, is that it doesn't put space in between the bars like we're used to. So to fix that, I come and click on the red triangle next to my variable name. And under histogram options, I'm going to select separate bars. You'll also notice that by default, we don't have a frequency axis or a relative frequency axis. To include one, you would click on the red triangle next to the variable name, go down to histogram options and select count axis will give you the frequencies and probability axis will give you the relative frequencies. So here I'll just select count axis, and you'll notice by default it appears on the right. And to move it to the left like I'm used to, I would come click on the red triangle, go to display options and click axes on left. Alright, and then when you're happy with what you see and you want to print or copy and paste or anything like that, you'll go up to, there's actually this hidden blue line, there's a hidden menu there. that you can click on, and now I can go to File, Print, or do whatever I want with my output from here. So this is how you use JMP to create a bar graph.